Wouldn't it be cool if you had this magical tool that would turn your recording of an IEP or ARD meeting into a written transcript? Yes, that's the magic that we're going to be talking about today. And when I'm done giving you this demo of this free app, you're going to say,
"That was easy."
That was easy. Because it's like so wonderful when you can add a new tool to your advocacy toolbox. So I have been using written transcriptions for things like my live shows, because then I write out training notes, like summarize and talk about the key points, and I email those out once a week. And so I've been doing written transcriptions from my live shows, and I don't know why it didn't dawn on me to also use written transcripts for IEP meetings, because as an advocate, I go to usually several IEP meetings every week. And so this app that I found that is free makes it right in the affordability market for being able to do this. So if we haven't met before, I'm Charmaine Tanner, and I was a teacher for 30 years. I have a son with Down syndrome, and I do advocacy for families. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let us know in the comments if you typically record meetings at school that you go to, or what your experiences have been. If you want the training notes from today, because we'll be summarizing what we're going to be demonstrating, just type otter.ai in the chat box, and you'll get a message from my chat bot, and it will ask you to reply to that message with otter.ai, and we'll get you set up for getting the training notes. So welcome. I'm glad you guys are here with us. Let me go over to comments so I can pull up your comments. So what is nice is we can pull up your questions or comments. So just keep those going. What I'm going to do is going to share my screen. So what we're going to be using today is a starter guide that otter.ai has written, and it's really user-friendly. So I'm going to go through a few of the features of otter.ai and let you know about that. The other thing I wanted to let you know is we've had different people in our group ask about, is this legal? How do I know? What do I have to do? So I have a great document from a education law firm, and this was just updated in June, so that's nice. But this will be in the training notes. So if you want to get those training notes, remember. And what I like is it goes through, wiretapping and eavesdropping and all this. So if you want some kind of background information, you can get this. I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you legal advice. But then the other thing that is nice is they have each of the states in the back, and they'll tell you if they're a one-party state, an all-party state, or a mixed state. And we'll talk a little bit more about the legalities of that in a minute. But let's go over here, and I can share my screen with you. So, like I said, and I'll put this back up, but this is a starter guide that you could easily use, and it will walk you through the different things. So the thing that we'll talk about the most today is probably generating notes and the review and edit functions. And I'm going to go through this guide, and then I'll actually come back with a transcription and show you how you can do it. So the nice thing about generating notes, you can either record something live using otter.ai. That's the free app that you can get. So you can record it live, or if you have a tape recording of an old IEP or ARD meeting that you want a transcript for, you can upload that to otter.ai and it will transcribe that. So there's two ways that you can do it: record it live with the app, the free app, or use a past recording and you can upload that. The other thing, let's go back here, is this works for both Android and iPhones, and it also works like on an iPad or on your computer. So the thing that I like a lot about it, once you get the transcript, is it has this synchronized playback. So what that means is you can be reading the transcript, but if sometimes with the transcript, there's going to be errors and they're going to not hear what the person said very well. But what you can do is when you're reading the transcript, and I'll show you this on one of mine in a minute, you can hit the play button and you can hear what was said at that time. And you can even stop at a certain point on the transcript and you just want to hear that part of the conversation that was in the middle of the meeting. You can also do that. You can tap on that part, hit play, and it will just bring up that part. So it really saves a lot of time when you're trying to remember what was said and what was actually decided, or if you want to share the recording with your spouse or partner or neighbor. This transcription with the audio embedded really, really makes it so much easier. So let me look. I'm going to go back over here to comments. So Michelle's with us. Hey, Michelle. She says she hasn't seen it, excited to look it up. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Lissa is here with us from Idaho. Hey, Lissa. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Let me show you a few more features, and then we're going to do one with an actual transcription that I have. So this is a little bit of a bells and whistles. You can also add photos to your transcription. I haven't done this at a meeting. I did it a couple times just to try it out. But yeah, so what I'm thinking is, if you're in a meeting and they, put something on the whiteboards, one time, like maybe the to-do list and who's going to do it and when it's going to get done by. A lot of times we'll use our cell phone to take a snapshot of that, but you can also embed that into the transcription for, whatever part that you want. So you probably won't use that feature a lot, but I just wanted to let you know that that is an option. Now, the other feature that you'll use a lot is the search. And this is also cool because you can, I'll show you what the keywords look like. They generate keywords and you can look for specific things and it will jump to that paragraph or that sentence. Like most transcription programs, you can tag the speakers. It's going to be really important that people try to have just one person talk at a time. And that's a good ground rule, right, for meetings. But it's especially helpful when you're tape recording if you can, ask the person, leading the meeting, to make sure that we follow the ground rule of one person talk at a time. That will make it much easier. When you get the transcription back, it will just be like speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, but you can go in there and say, oh, speaker 1 was the special ed director. So you type in their name. And then whenever speaker 1 appears throughout the transcription, that will change and it will say special ed director, special ed director. So, you can go back and say, what did the special ed director say when we requested this? So I'll show you the way that you can tag speakers, and then also that search component makes it really good too. So let's see. It works with Zoom. You can use it with Zoom. The other thing is exporting. So I share it. I can email it to the family. So after we've done the IEP meeting and we've got the transcription, I sometimes will go in and do some highlighting, but it can be shared with other people. You can make a link and share it that way. When you export it, you can make it a PDF. You can make it the audio. I mean, there's different choices. There's folders to organize and other things. But let's go to an actual transcription, because, let me see, I got to remove that one. I'm going to use a transcription of a live show. Obviously I don't want to do a transcription of a private IEP meeting. So Renee's here. She's from the Chicago area. Debbie's here. Hey guys. So if you didn't see it, let me bring it up. If you want to get the training notes for today's live show, you can just type in otter.ai in the chat box. My chat bot will come back and say, reply to this message with otter.ai. You reply, and then you'll be signed up to get the training notes. So I want to stop that screen, and now I'm going to add a new screen. So let me know, do you guys typically record your meetings? Do you live in a state where you have to have all parties agree? Let us know. So this is my my list of recordings or transcriptions that I've made. So if we go to, and so the other thing I'll show you is, if you want to, if I wanted to start recording this conversation, I could start the recording just by clicking the blue button. Or if you have a previously recorded meeting, you can click here and import it. But this is one that I already have a transcription for. So let me show you what it looks like. So it gives you the name of, the meeting or whatever. And this is where the summary keywords are interesting. So it pulls out, and I think a lot of times it's based on how often that word is said. But if you have a specific, thing that you want to go look for, you could, let's see, say we want to see all the times that we talked about inclusion. So it says here, there's 1 of 21 times that the word inclusion was mentioned in this. It was a live show. So you can go and see, is this the part you wanted, or was there another time when inclusion was mentioned that's what you want to look up. So anyway, you can scroll through here and it will show each time inclusion was mentioned. So that's one way that you can use the keyword summaries. So let's go back up here. So because this was a live show and I was the only person talking, there's just one speaker. But this is where you would find like speaker 1 and you could put in their name. So you can just read the transcript, right? Or if it's like, no, I really want to hear this part too. So let's say we want to hear this part here. If you have questions about facilitated IEP meetings, we can talk about that today. Say hi so I can welcome you. Today, there's no specific topic because it's all about... And then you can pause it when you need to. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to look back here at comments. Mary says that in California, they have to give a 24-hour notice. MC says, yes, I tape in a two-party state. And Lissa says, this looks real neat. And she said, I had my son's last IEP meeting over the phone, so I did end up recording it. See? Yeah, so that can be helpful too. And now what you can do, Lissa, is you can take that recording and you can import it into otter.ai, and you'll get the transcription. So cool. I'm glad you guys are liking this. I think it's going to really help in a lot of ways. Because it's so hard to remember exactly what discussions were like. So let's go back here and let me show you a couple other things that you can do. So let's go. Now see here, I was highlighting in some different areas just to kind of show you. But what you can do is if there's a certain sentence or something that you want to remember. And oops. Usually there's not much. You can, and I know this. I'm gonna. You can highlight. Oops. Highlight that, and then see here's a little highlight button. So you can click on that, and it will be highlighted for you. Let me stop that. You can also send this on, to Twitter. I'm not sure if you're doing an IEP meeting, you want to request that. This is the icon if you want to add the photo. So the highlighting part I use a lot. And I think if you're an advocate working with other families, what you'd want to do is highlight the document before you send it to them. Because once they get it from the link, I don't think that they can edit it or, use any highlighting. So the other thing is when you're done, you can create a link and share it. So this is what then you could do as far as having a link that you can email to, your neighbor, to your friend, to your husband, whatever. And then they would have access to the transcription too. So like I said, if you're working with a group of parents, even on kind of a informal basis where you're helping them advocate, I would really recommend that you use this and share that with the family. So Lissa was saying that she said, I've been using Tape-A-Call, but that particular app doesn't transcribe that well. In Otter, thanks for bringing that up, Lissa. With Otter, it's not a person listening to the recording, but they use artificial intelligence to, make the transcription. So it's not going to be a great document that you could, necessarily, I don't know, share as evidence or something without doing some editing. Now, to me, when I use this, when I do a transcription of our live show and then write the training notes, it doesn't really matter to me that it's not, they didn't capture every word accurately. when you're looking at a transcription from an IEP meeting, you do want to go back, but I really don't spend that much time editing it. What I'll do is, like, if they come up with some crazy phrase and it's like, I know that's not what the person said, I'll just hit the play button and listen back to that. Because the reality is we only have so much time, right, to do these things. So I'm telling you the shortcuts that I take, that might not be your style. But what I would really suggest is that, and I'll bring this up, is that you go to otter.ai/starter-guide and they will walk you through it all. So I think you want to start with the basics, either recording it using this as your app or recording it with, your iPad or something else, and you don't want to use the app for some reason. And then you bring it home and upload it. The other caution I have, when you're using your cell phone and an app to record on your cell phone, like Otter, or any other kind of recording thing, you need to put your phone in airplane mode, because otherwise, if you get a call during the meeting, that like interrupts the recording. The other tip I have for you is, the other day I thought I'll just use my phone and my app, the Otter app on my phone, and record the meeting. Well, it was working fine, but guess what? Then at the end of the meeting, when we're trying to all figure out a date to come back, I had to use my cell phone to look at my calendar. So then it pauses the recording. And so any other conversations you have while everybody's looking for their calendars, you won't get that part of the meeting recorded. And I really like to get from beginning to I'm walking out the door before I turn off the recording. So that was a kind of a downside. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to use my iPad and just upload it, or the other thing I could do is use the otter.ai on my iPad. So let me know if this is making sense. So MC was saying, I wonder if you could submit it as an exhibit in a due process. And I would ask your attorney. I kind of doubt that this, would be, I don't know. There's another service that you can get. It's rev.com, rev.com. And they use a person that listens to the recording and does the transcription. You get more accuracy if it's a person. However, it costs $1 a minute. So that's like, it gets expensive, right? And I used to use their service and it was like $1 a minute. This is like really expensive. So then they came out with kind of a sister site, Temi, TEMI.com. And Temi was only 10 cents a minute. So then I started using Temi. Temi uses artificial intelligence. So you could tell that it wasn't as accurate. You had to do more editing with it. And then I found otter.ai and it was free. And so I started using Otter. And what I love about it is that it is easy to use. You don't have to be real, have a lot of tech knowledge to be able to use it. Like I said at the beginning, it's good on Android, cell phones, iPads, computers. And I think it's a fabulous tool. So if you have other ways that you can see using this, let me know. The other use that we've been doing recently is when we get copies of the meeting notes. We never approve those until we've really checked and make sure that it captures the meeting well. And so by having the transcription, having the highlighted parts that you can do in there, can make a great way to check the accuracy of the minutes. Because again, even if you have a good note taker friend that's in the meeting, it's hard to capture everything, right? And Renee says, yes, it's mandated in Illinois in any situation. Yeah, and it was interesting, Renee. So if you want this, put otter.ai in the chat box, because I'm going to give a link to this resource. And it talks about how Illinois is like one of the most, how does he say it here? He says, the law in Illinois is confusing and in flux. So it says, for years, this one section made it a crime to use an eavesdropping device to overhear or record a phone call or conversation without the consent of all parties to the conversation, regardless of whether the parties had expectation of privacy. But it goes on there's this whole long paragraph just about Illinois. And most of the other states, it just has like a real short description. So, it'd be interesting for you to see that. And Lissa was saying when she was working with disability rights, they had someone professionally transcribe my conversations. Yeah, and that's what you're going to get the best. If you're thinking of using this as evidence in a due process, I don't think, you could say, oh, here's my otter.ai. So, you would have your original audio recording, but you would need somebody like a court reporter, that has all those little shorthands of how they type in the conversation. Yeah, Renee says, welcome to Illinois. So, yes, let me see what other. So MC says they submit meeting notes. So yeah, so that using the transcription would be really helpful. Let me see if we have any other questions. Yeah, and it also says, Mary, if you're still with us, that California has like one of the strictest set of laws for recording. So I think that will be a great resource for you guys. And like I said, I'll include the link in the training notes, and the training notes will be emailed out. And I also wanted to tell you today, we are giving away a copy of my The Art of Advocacy book. It's a parent's guide to a collaborative IEP process. I know some of you have this as a copy, so if you get picked today, you can give it to a friend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through the comments, and then I'll just stop on one, and that will be our lucky person for the day. So let's do this so I don't forget. So I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to scroll through the comments, and Mary. It's like, whose name? Mary. So, ta-da, you get a copy of my book, The Art of Advocacy. So that is pretty cool. So Mary, if you can just send me a private message with your mailing address, I will get this off into the mail for you. So how we doing, folks? Let me know if you have any other questions about using otter.ai. So Lissa says, I love recording meetings. It's helped tremendously when I've needed to summarize and compose emails and remember exactly what was said. Yes, that's a great point, Lissa. Thanks. Yeah, so that is just so nice to go back to. And like I said, if you're going to be quoting it, then, you do want to make sure that that sentence is as accurate as possible. And so if we go back here to my example, and let me bring it up. If we look back here, So yeah, so see here, IDA. So that's probably not what I really said. So you can go back to this sentence and start playing. Oops, I got to
see if they're required there. And a lot of times they don't
Let me
really.
go.
Now, evaluation team meetings are not required under IDEA. You could check your state regs and see if they're required there. And a lot of times they don't really happen on a form.
So that's what I love the most, I think, is that, you know, if there is something that doesn't seem like it's accurate, I can go back and listen. And if I need to, I can edit that one little part. But I really would not want you to be spending, an hour or two going and editing it. I think it's something that's a quick check. And if you have a question, listen to that part of the recording and edit that part instead of spending a lot of time. Yes, Mary, this is your lucky day. So yeah, just send me a private message. And next week is October 3rd, is Thursday. Usually the first Thursday of the month is our Q&A time. However, I'm going to be at a jog or walk event at my grandkids' school. So I won't be live with you for the Q&A, and we'll figure out if we can do a watch party or something else. But stay tuned. October 10th, which is the next Thursday, I'm going to be at a legal conference, so I won't be able to go live then either. But then October 17th, we're going to have a guest with us. So it may be a couple weeks before I see you live, but thanks so much for being here. Thank you for being those wonderful parents that are out speaking up for your child. You're changing things, not only for yourself, but so many other families. So I love that you're here with us. I love that we can have a conversation and just, stay connected, because we know when we work together, we can create more change. So I am Charmaine Tanner. Until we are live again, take care and have a wonderful weekend. We shall see you later.